They are trying to impress me just as much as I'm trying to impress them, and you can feel that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and a lot of people try to play nonchalant and trying to play hard to get and trying to play these fucking games. And I'm not looking for none of that. When I text, I'm expecting a response back within a reasonable time. If it's not in a reasonable time, I'm expecting an explanation about what's going on. Say, hey, I sorry I couldn't get to you. Work got busy, and I understand what you do for work because we talked about it, so I get that. You know, you make commitments and you stick to it. Now, like, now if we decide if we're going to meet at a certain date or a certain time, we are going to meet at that time.
Yeah, better know your clap.
Is that?
That's it. That's how we start an episode.
Okay, hey, what's good, everybody? That's how we start the episode. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Buffet Podcast, brought to you by your favorite hosts, Brandon and Ciandra. Episode 107.
I want to hear the yay again.
Want to hear the yay again? Just a yay?
Mm-hmm.
Just a yay? There you go. It's been a while. It's been a lot has happened.
Mm-hmm.
A lot has happened.
A lot has happened.
Yeah. As you
Should
already
we start
know.
with a recap?
You want to do a recap? You want to do it?
Blang blang. Every time I come around, you say they blang blang. Thinking wait, blang blang. Yeah.
Yeah. For the audio listeners only. She flashed the ring because, you know, we engaged. I'm pretty sure we talked about it or we mentioned it the last episode, but immediately after that, you know, I said it was just life going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And I said birthday week. It was like
no sickness, birthday,
and then
now
sick
we
again,
back.
and then now we back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Whew. And it wasn't Rona. It wasn't the flu or anything. I guess it was a cold mixed with what is it? Allergies, and then I got food poisoning.
Oh yeah,
bruh, it was terrible, and it wasn't necessarily in that order, but it was pretty on top of each other. But, yeah. But we're back now,
and we can breathe.
It's November. We can breathe out of both nostrils. You never like, you always take it for granted until you can't anymore, and you was like, dang, remember when you can breathe out of both nostrils at the same time?
At the same time,
bro. That's peak human. That's peak wellness. Yeah. So good. But yeah, man. But we're back. Ooh, somebody there. The words kind of beat me up a little bit. So yeah, we're back, fresh new month of November. I hope your October went well. Hope you had a good Halloween or whatever y'all decide to substitute for. If y'all don't celebrate that, the fall equinox or whatever the hell, what's that, Samhain or whatever, the olden
solar eclipse,
solar eclipse, all those things. Yeah, I hope y'all had a good that time period. Mm-hmm. Now we are in November, the food, the Keith Lee time. I'm just naming that right now. So yeah, it's the countdown to Thanksgiving or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm. Count down to the end of the year. I don't know about y'all, but at my company, they let us know it's only 36 business days left between now and the end of the year. So please, and less for some of us. I found out I only had 21 business days left. So we don't have that much work left. This is a time of rest and reflection. Mm-hmm. We are slowing things down, and we're back just in time for you to be able to listen to us while things are slow.
Slowing down, you know what I'm saying? Thinking about the family more, trying to see, who you gonna see, how you gonna coordinate it, all those adulting type things. Looking at flight costs, because you know things are gonna start going up, creeping up, little tick 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 tick. So go ahead, check them out. I think Southwest got a sale going on, perhaps, maybe, possibly. All right, so with all of that being said, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to continue to get these numbers up. We're on the run for 200. We're trying to get to 200. Right now, we're at a 101. 13, 12, something
nice.
Like that. Something in the somewhere in the 110s. You know what I'm saying? So we're trying to get to 200, you know. So I encourage y'all to tell everybody that you care about who may find some value in what we talked about, which is relationships amongst the Black community. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that being said, let's get into it. Unless you got anything else you want to talk to them about, you want to say something?
Nope.
No.
All right. What are we talking about today?
Today,
or Amuse-Bouche. Sorry.
Yeah, Amuse-Bouche. So we are going to be talking about during this. I think this clip is about expectations. It's kind of going into not expectations, but first date etiquette, which is kind of goes into with the expectation. It just leads into a lot of the shit that you've probably seen and heard through social media over the last month. But let's get into it real quick, Nick.
Taking a go on a date, what cuisine are we looking at?
Took a girl to a place called Monkey House, yeah, and I didn't know how expensive it was. And you know how it is when you're going out and you're buying
places
drinks,
are expensive.
they're expensive, innit? So she's ordered like 4 cocktails, yeah, and she hasn't even ordered her food yet. It's coming up to like 40 quid. I've only got a bill 50. So I started to like saying, I ain't even hungry, you know. She's like, well, I'm hungry. I'm gonna order. So I've gone to the toilet and I've texted my boy. He's not answering, so I've called him. I said, brother, please, I need money. I need like a bill 50. I'll run it back to you. So all I'm doing during the day is literally just doing this. Refreshing, just trying to see the balances change. So I'm sweating now, yeah, and then she's like, oh, do you want more? Should we get more drinks? In my head, I'm like, this is where it's gonna go left, because if I say no,
yeah, you can't say no.
I can't say no, so I'm going, it's up to you. She's ordered more drinks now. I've then thought, yeah, this is peak. I'm gonna have to ask her to borrow me some money, or let's go halves or something. I just thought, let me just refresh again, and I saw £300 in there. 150 there.
Big up broski, man.
Fabe.
Alright, Fabe, big up
Shout
yourself,
out Fabe.
man.
Fabe knows the story anyway. It gave me confidence in it, but it made me realise I can't do this. This is like living on the edge. So yeah, that was my worst experience I've ever had.
Interesting. First date experience, kind of a terrifying horror story a little bit. I would consider that more on the horror story side than like a good date, even though they could have had a good time. I'm sure he didn't have a good time.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a very stressful experience and almost like a formative experience. Like, oh, I can't do this shit again. Like, I'm living on the edge and I don't want to live that way.
And I'm glad he came to that realization.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering what adjustments he's made since then. But this kind of leads into, the question of just like first date etiquette. And as I'm sure you may have heard, and if you haven't already or didn't see it, you must not be on social media too much, which is okay. I commend you for that. This kind of ties into what's been going on with what are they calling her? The dude tried to
the
Cheesecake Factory lady. And the 48
the oyster lady.
48 oyster lady going on, and how that sparked off a Twitter battle between men and women of just like the dates that women aren't accepting for first dates, and then the men responding back and stuff like that. So this video kind of highlights like what could happen if you don't prepare and you're trying to woo these women, you're trying to take these women to a place that is out of your means.
You know what it made me think of though? That Shannon Sharp sound that we had.
You know what what goes with lobster? Condoms go with lobster.
That's a wild boy. But to the clip, there's a couple of parts that I wanted to pull out. First, there's a point in there where he's like, I can't say no. Like, or else, and the feeling of I can't say no, or else it's done, or else this person isn't going to be interested in me anymore, or else the vibe is ruined, things like that. And I feel like that's so much pressure to have on you going into a dating experience. This feeling that you can't say no. And I don't think that's the right way to go. I feel like if I'm in a space with somebody and I feel like I can't say no, or I can't advocate for myself, or I can't tell it like it is, be authentic, even I don't have it. Like, I miscalculated. I didn't recognize that it was this. Like, or, you know what? Let's cut dinner short. Let's go get dinner someplace else. I think this place was just good for drinks. Something like that. Like, I think the fact that he didn't feel that there was space for him to be able to navigate the experience outside of saying yes is a problem.
Yeah. To me, it seems like he didn't feel like he had control of the situation. Like, it was you who planned the date. It was you who decided, to come here. Like, the date and how it goes is really determined by you, and it's kind of the expectation. So if you could have, he could have pivoted and been like, "Hey, we're just here for the drinks. I got somewhere else, you know, that we're going to go for food." But that being said, I definitely understand. I definitely empathize with him when he comes through. Was like, I felt like I couldn't say no. Like I'm on. I have to impress her, and a lot of times, most of the. I would like to say most of the time, at least at the beginning of the stages, it feels like the only way that we can impress someone is by using our wallet, by like showing you how I can provide for you or be able to provide monetarily. And I think like I can understand the thought process behind it, but like it's supposed to be representative of like, this is how I live. I'm giving you a glimpse into my life. This is, you know, this is what I go to, you know what I'm saying? This is the type of food I eat on a, you know, kind of a regular basis. Like you can expect something like this when we are dating, when we go out to eat. And I don't think that is a good precedent to state. President? Jesus Christ. Why is this, you know, sometimes the words that you know suddenly start sounding weird. It's not a good precedent. President?
No, you're saying
precedent.
It right. You're saying it right the first time. It's not president.
Precedent.
Yes.
I don't know why it sounds so weird to me right now. It's not a good one to set. If you know that. Yeah, because there's a difference between, you know, I could take you to a good steakhouse, you know, every blue moon, you know, I got to save up for it, versus like every Saturday, you know, this is what it's going to look like. That is two separate tax brackets. And I personally, I don't think that's a good opener. I don't think that's a good opener, period. Even if you got it, I don't think that's a good opener. Unless you really be like that. Unless you live like that for real.
I think that's the difference. If you got it, then you should give someone access to this thing that you enjoy doing. Because I think the other thing with dates that we are maybe getting confused about is what the intention behind a first date is. Mm-hmm. It is to confirm that the mutual attraction exists.
Don't tell them that. Oh, you finna get blown up for that.
Person. That's it. Like, it is not a test. It is not an opportunity for you to put on a dog and pony show. Like, I don't think a first date is your opportunity to peacock for me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm expecting you to, because it's already inorganic in a certain
the first date is already,
we don't know each other.
Awkward.
Like, we're trying to get to know each other. So you peacocking and putting on is not going to help me get to know you and to decide better whether or not I want to spend additional time with you. And so the place gives me insight into how you live, right? If you choose for it to be that. Mm-hmm. The place gives me insight into what you're interested in if you choose for it to be that. But if you come out, you're trying to peacock and impress me, all you're showing me is that fancy stuff is cool. Like, I don't know. I guess I just don't understand.
Or you should be impressed.
Or I should be impressed by this. And like, again, that's a testament to like, what do you think my value system is? Like, why do you think that this is the only place that you can take me, or how you have to treat me, or you can't say no? Like, what do you think about me?
That is that is a lack of communication in the beginning stage before you plan the first date. It shows to me that you don't or haven't thought of or don't care to know what each other's interests are. Mm-hmm. So you just like, so it's kind of like a cookie cutter, you know, one size fits all. It's like, hey, I'm gonna go here, got to do this, got to do that, and it's not really catered to the person that you're trying to take out. So it's like you don't even know, is she vegetarian? Mm-hmm. Why, you know, like, does she even eat the shit that they serve at the restaurant? Additionally, on the other side, you know what I'm saying, she showed who she was during that date as well, because you were not considerate at all. Like, you didn't give any kind of fucks about like when you know someone is paying for you, you're not supposed to go wild and order everything that speaks to your heart's desire. Like, I would excuse me, let me bring that back. The woman who I would be interested in would have couth, would be like, I understand that like he is paying for me. this is not the time for me to go and get steak and lobster and all the other shit that I don't order for myself on a regular basis. It's not a time for me to rack up a bill because someone else is paying, because it is very inconsiderate. It's extremely inconsiderate. You don't necessarily know that, know their pockets, like, and it kind of just shows us like, oh, so you don't care about money when it's not yours. So I know what type of time you're going to be on moving forward. You're setting, just like I'm setting a precedent by bringing you here, you're setting a precedent by how you choose to behave when like you feel like you can just get away with whatever.
I think that's one perspective to take. Mm-hmm. When I reflected on it, I'm like, it could be that. It could be a test of like, okay, how much can I get away with? How far can I push the line without this person saying anything to me? But I also think it could be a sign of trust. Like, okay, you brought me here, and in bringing me here, I trust that you have what is required in order for us to be able to have a good time. Now, 4 drinks in this particular, I don't think that it's safe to be out on a first date with somebody having that many drinks, getting to the point where you're intoxicated. That's the part where I feel like the line needs to be drawn of like,
still don't know this person.
How you getting home, sis? Like, right. Why is you drinking so much? But I think there is something to be said of like, I'm out on a first date with you in part because there's enough rapport here and enough trust here that I know that you got it. Like, I'm not worried about how much I'm spending, or I'm not trying to be overly conservative or overly concerned with how much I'm spending, because you selected this space. Mm-hmm. So I hope you know what the prices are, what's typical in terms of what you can expect to spend. 2, you're a grown up. You should be able to communicate. If it gets to a point where it's like, hey, like, I want to be mindful of the fact that this is our first date, and set a standard for like what dating me would look like. And for me, my budget with dates is XYZ. Or like, for me, I wouldn't have this many drinks on a date. Usually, like, do you usually drink this much? You know what I'm saying? Like, something question. Like that, where you can get a better grasp for what this person's baseline is. Because I don't think that an automatic judgment either way gives you the answer that you want, because you don't know this person. A part of the first date is getting to know them. So like 4 drinks is like more than I would usually have. Do you usually like drink like this when you go out to dinner? Like, you just like cocktail? Like, help me understand. And
that's the argument. That's a setup for the argument.
An argument on a first date? I don't argue with niggas.
Because like now the woman's like, oh, you're coming for me now. Now I feel like I got to be on the defensive. Like, you're calling me an alcoholic on the low. It's like, oh, like, damn, you drink like this on the first date usually? Is that usually what? And the woman's hearing, nigga, you drink too much.
That some women,
damn, little lady, you sure put it away.
Some women are thinking that, but not every single woman. And
but you don't know who is who.
Exactly. And now's your opportunity to learn. That's what the first date is for you to get an opportunity to learn more about this person. So the questions that you ask help you figure that out. The person's response help you figure that out. Ask the questions and also set the boundaries. I think that was the man's failed opportunity there. Like, no, we're not doing all this.
It's a 2 drink maximum.
Yeah, like I wouldn't feel comfortable if this is how much you drink when you go out without with new people. You drinking this much? I feel like it's a safety thing at this point. Like,
well, sure. Well, I mean, I think for you, yes, that as a man, I'm not thinking about her safety in the sense of like, wow, you're kind of drinking a lot right now. You're putting yourself in an unsafe environment. That's not something that guys necessarily think, because it's not something we have to think about. Mm-hmm. So like, that's something that she definitely needs to be thinking about. So I definitely hear and understand where you're coming from that. And I was like, oh, that's good. That's definitely a great point. But as from a man's perspective, we're not thinking about it. We just see the money. We're just seeing like, yo, this is very inconsiderate. This is not respectful at all. Like when your friend takes you out to pays for the bill or says, oh, I'm gonna take you out, do you go crazy like this? Like why do you suddenly have the wherewithal to do it when I'm doing it? To me, it feels like a lack of respect, and I can't help but think that a lot of dudes would think the same. And I also can recognize that is perhaps a typical male thought pattern that women don't just like we don't be thinking about the safety aspect of it. I don't think women see how you behave when it comes to money and money that's not yours. How the message that we pick up from that. And because you don't perceive it when we bring it up, it doesn't seem like that's the thing. It doesn't seem like a big deal. But I guarantee you, it is a significant fucking deal, because if this is what it looks like on the first date, it's only going to get worse. If this is how you act with somebody you don't know and you aren't comfortable with, once you are comfortable with me, what the fuck are you finna do?
Run it up.
Yes.
Open your heart and open your wallet, baby.
So to me, I saw that, I would have been like, I would have made that judgment, because that's what it is. Like, I may have been wrong, but I guarantee you, I would have said I wouldn't have lost nothing.
Would you have gone on a second date with this person?
No, that's dead.
Dang.
That's dead.
I don't know.
I would immediately relegated her. Like, I'm just going to try to shoot my shot, see if I can hit.
Yeah,
and
that's what I would have said.
and try to keep it there. You are not no longer in the running for like main. Like,
I would have said that if I made this initial investment of money that is beyond what I wanted to spend anyway, I'm leaving here with something. So condoms come along with this meal.
Nah, you can't assume that's what I'm gonna try to get cheap. But if she's like, no, all right, bet, and she'll probably never hear from me again. Mm-hmm. If I don't hit that night, it's over with. She'll never hear from me again.
Rough.
That being said, like, yeah, I think the dude was in the wrong. Big shout out to Broski for coming through in the clutch. I said, looks like he ain't even message him. He just sent the money. I was like, hey, I commend it. I respect it. And I'm glad he was able to, get out of that situation. But you need to get more control of these dates, moving forward. And it just kind of goes into, what I was thinking about. What I was saying about, I don't think going to these expensive ass restaurants is a good first date. It's not a good place to get to know someone, really. Like you were saying, like, it's the whole point of the first date is to, like, first of all, it's to confirm that you are something similar to how you marketed yourself to me, either through however way we met. Getting in front of you, being able to have a conversation with you, looking in your eye when, like, life isn't, pulling at you, at work and trying to squeeze me in through text and stuff like that, and trying to see if can I hold a conversation with you? Okay, like, do you seem like somebody who I may be willing to invest more time and effort in continuing to date, to learn more about? And I don't think that, you could do that over that date, but it's like there are so many different. The dinner, where you choose to have dinner, is not the best way to find that information out. I think there are a lot of different ways that don't cost that much money in order to do it. It's just that it doesn't seem like, at least from what we're seeing out here in the streets, they want anything but dates that cost a bunch of money up front initially. Mm-hmm. And by they, I mean, like, the single woman.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, who they? I think that there's some truth to that. First, I will acknowledge that there is some truth to that. But I also think that, to your earlier point of, like, your first date is your opportunity to introduce me to your lifestyle and for me to see what you are willing to provide for me. Mm-hmm. I think that that's where the desire to go on an expensive first date comes from. It's like, I want to see what you can do for me and what you're willing to do for me, right? Like, especially if that's a part of the value system for you in dating, like, what you gonna do for me? Because that's gonna help me determine whether or not I'm gonna do anything for you, or that's gonna help me determine whether or not I should invest any more time in you. If that's the relationship model that you want, like, a give and get, you know what I'm saying? Then that makes a lot of sense for that. I just don't think that that's everyone's relationship model, and I think that that's where we're going awry. Is like, not all of us want and need these things, and it's nice, yes, but it isn't the only thing that helps us establish whether or not the man that we're interested in is a man of value and a man of character. And I think that that's where we're going awry. Like, I think if we think the best man for me is the man who will take me on the expensive first date, we are going to be disappointed, because if, to your point, if he got it, then taking you on this expensive first date is not thoughtful, which maybe you care about, is not reflective of how he's going to treat you or care for you. If he did that, he eats here 5 nights a week because he doesn't cook for himself. And so you just happen to be, okay, Thursday, I'm going back to where I usually go on Thursday. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't think that when we are assigning value to a restaurant, we're being as thoughtful about how that connects to that person's character, or what that, or overly valuing the restaurant and connecting it to character, because
we do. That's what that's just one. That's just part of the human condition of having to judge off of looks. Like, it's a safety thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, we got to be, at a glance, we got to be able to tell if this person is dangerous or if this situation is dangerous or not. We got to be able to tell, you know, whether this person can do, like, it can be of benefit to me or a detriment to me. And that's just how it plays out when it, like, on like the dating scene. Like, a lot of times we do that with famous people all the time. Like, we equate, you know, like power and success with like how they are as like a person. You know what I'm saying? That's why we constantly be surprised.
Oh yeah,
like, you know, that famous people or like that famous people like are human and be doing like wild, crazy shit. Like, what? I can't believe that. Like, why can't you believe that this person did some wild shit? They human too. You just know who they are. And I think we do that a lot. We do with the person with the money is going to treat me the best. The person who looked the best is going to be the best potential partner for me, and that is not necessarily true. But what I wanted, I guess, to ask you is, what do you personally think a woman should be looking for in the first date? Like, what are you getting into the first date? What were you? Excuse me, not what. Let's not say what they should be doing. What were you looking for when you were dating? Going on the first dates, what were the things that you were looking for? What were the messages that you were looking to receive to let you know, like, okay, cool, and yeah.
I think thoughtfulness and consideration. So if we are going someplace and we're meeting up at a certain time, you on time? Are you thoughtful in terms of like, oh, I've been here before, you should park here, or parking costs money, let's park at this other, like small stuff like that, like those small details that really reflect your ability to be considerate of me and considerate of me navigating this space that may be new for me, especially if it's someplace that you've already been to. I also think that it's important for me to see how you navigate with other people in a space. So how are you treating the wait staff? How are you treating and talking to the hostess? How do you handle if someone is rude or inconsiderate to me or to you in that space? I can't tell you how many times I've been out on a first date with somebody and somebody else has tried to holler at me while I'm out on that first date with this other person. And seeing how that man... Yes. Seeing how that man responds to, navigates that is interesting.
Wow. I'm listening like, nigga, that's happened to you? That ain't never happened to me in my life. But okay. I was like,
I mean, I guess it depends on the space that you take somebody to. Like, I'm thinking of like first dates that have been at like bars or bar lounges, stuff like that. Like, it looked like a first date. This other man, like, you ain't gotta leave here with him. Whoa, slow down, mister.
Dang, and he was there? He was right there?
He wasn't right there. It was like going to the bathroom.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say,
it wasn't so bold of like, you sitting at the table and this other man walks
that's
up.
what I thought at first. I was like, yo, you having a conversation, dude just come up to you, I'm like, yo, what's good? Like, damn.
People are bold, but no, not like that. But I think that's another thing that I'm looking at to see how you navigate. And I also care about paying. I do care about paying for our first date. You asked me to be here. I did not volunteer myself. Maybe we mutually agreed, but I do think paying for one meal from me or for me is not too big of an ask. And I mean, you remember when we first started dating, you paid for the first date, but by the second day I was like, okay, I got it. It's like,
yeah, you planned it.
Yeah,
I ain't have to say nothing, which was green flag.
I think that we are in a relationship with me. You can expect that I'm going to treat you as well. It's not like you're going to pay my way the whole way. That's not a value that I have. But I also expect you as a man to be able to provide something for me, and you to offer to provide something for me. I don't want to have to ask. I think that it's important to see that you're generous and that you're willing to give. And so you got to pay for that first date, baby. We ain't going to have. I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, pay this tab or you're not going to see me again.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that idea. And I agree. Like, if I'm asking you out on the first date, I got it on the first date. But to your point about, you say it when you're dating, when people are dating you, the person should expect that you're going to be generous back. You're going to do it, but that's not the case. That's not the norm. That's not most guys going into it just knowing like mostly it's going to be on me. It will be a cold day in hell, blue moon, and during the cold day in hell, where a woman is going to be like, "I got you. I'm going to offer or going to do this thing." When you see it, when it happens to you, it don't even sound real. It's like what you. Okay, cool. She's gonna plan the date, but like I'm still going to end up paying somehow. So like when a woman actually does that stuff and actually like will pay, it feels weird. It almost like it for a lot of dudes. I'm not going to speak to a lot of dudes. For me, when it happened to me, I was like, "Yo, this feels weird," and I can only say it was weird because I didn't know how to feel about it. Like it felt good, but it felt like. Is this a trap? Should I be paying for this? Like, am I wrong? Is this a test? Am I wrong? Should I let her do this for me? And it was like, yo, like she likes you. She's showing that she likes you. She's doing all this stuff. So I'm like, I like this, and I'm like, this is how it should be.
I agree. I would only do that for someone that I like. So I think that's.
But that's if y'all dating, that means y'all like each other. Right. So it's like.
And so that's the distinction, I think, as well, is like, I'm trying to figure out if I like you on the first date. I don't think everyone is. If you're peacocking for me, I don't like that.
Representatives.
And so now you're going to pay for this second date because I still don't know anything about you. Maybe I'm still intrigued. I'm still curious enough to want to do this again, but I don't know you still. Like there still isn't anything, that I'm convinced about that I'm like, okay, I should do this again and I should return on the initial investment.
How many dates will you give to get that information before you like, I don't know. Cause I know there are, a lot of women who just, they'll continue to take as long as it's offered. But I also know that there's some women who just like, if I figure out by X amount that it's just nothing, it's something missing or whatever, I'm just going to go ahead and cut it off. What would that be for you? Or what was that for you?
Mine, I say about 3 dates.
Okay.
I think 3 is enough. And I would not, because if I'm still uncertain, I would want to make sure that the dates are varied. Don't keep taking me out to dinner. I didn't really have that much fun with you at dinner. Let's do something else. I would also want to make sure that the dates don't grow in cost. Like I don't want you to spend
go bigger and bigger and bigger trying to continue to
I still don't. I'm not sure if I like you yet. Let's slow it down, big buddy. And then I would also make sure that I have some clarity around like what am I looking for? Like what do I think is missing and how will I know if that thing has now appeared? Because I think, like I said, the first date you're pretty nervous. There is like I'm curious, but you're still a little nervous. You're still a little unsure.
Scared of life. I won't say something that's going to blow the whole thing up. I got you're trying to PC in your way through. Don't say nothing too wild, nothing too crazy.
Yeah, you're still trying to feel things out and ease into being yourself. And I think the second date can be like, okay, well, if we're still interested, let's just see. And I think by the third date, it's like, okay, either I'm still interested and fully invested, or no, this isn't going anywhere and we should walk away. And I also think especially during COVID, outside of this man who is now my fiance, who I kissed on the first date, I was not kissing these people. And so we also needed time for that to potentially happen, because I do think that like how I feel about you physically and what our sexual attraction is a big part of a relationship. So in the first date, when I'm not kissing you and I don't have that as additional data to decide whether or not I like you and I could pursue this further, I need another date to like, let's just see.
Let's just see. Okay. Thank you for answering that question.
What about you? What do you think you're looking for on the first date? Back when you was out in these streets, almost 3 years ago.
Damn. No, it was 3 years ago.
If we locked in.
Yeah. So, what I was looking for mostly just how she behaved, how she treated me, and like prioritize our communication, how much effort she was putting into conversations and whatnot. Also, the first day, I'm definitely making sure like it match up with the picture, make sure you look like you say you look. All of that is very important. I got to make sure like I'm attracted to you, you know, physically, and I already like swiped on you because I saw the pictures, but I know how, you know, digital age should be different.
Yeah.
And I done got bait and switch before. So, I had to, you know, confirm that. Then after that, I'm just looking to see how you treat me, like how you speak to me, how you behave, or what your mannerisms are, you know, like not only like what you say, how you say it. You know, if I feel like comfortable, if I feel like you actually have interest in me as a person, as opposed to like what you're going to, like what you're trying to get out of me. Because, you know, a lot of women can sometimes date men with like the energy you feel from them is like, what can you do for me? Mm-hmm. You know, like like I'm looking at your utility, like what use are you to me? Like, you know, peacock, like you know, put on, like show me that you are worthy of me.
Yeah,
and you get that a lot. You just the automatic like, I'm kind of already kind of above you. Like you need to like show me that, you know, what I'm saying you're worth my time. And I'm looking for someone who's like, I'm trying to impress you just as much as, you know, they are trying to impress me just as much as I'm trying to impress them. And you can feel that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and a lot of people try to play nonchalant and trying to play hard to get and trying to play these fucking games. And I'm not looking for none of that. When I text, I'm expecting a response back within a reasonable time. If it's not in a reasonable time, I'm expecting an explanation about what's going on. Say, hey, I sorry I couldn't get to you. Work got busy, and I understand what you do for work because we talked about it, so I get that. You know, you make commitments and you stick to it. And now if we decide if we're going to meet at a certain date or a certain time, we're going to meet at that time. You're not going to hit me up at the last second, you know, and be like, oh, I can't make it, and then like that's it, and then expect me to kind of recover and try to, you know, figure out, or because they be testing you, you know, a lot. They a lot of people play games and they test it because that shows that they don't prioritize you as a person. They're just like, you're Tuesday. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You're Tuesday's meal at this point. Saying you once you do this, you know, you date a lot, you could tell the difference between, you know, how that is by how they communicate with you. I understand that life happens. I understand, like, you know, like especially we was living in DC, traffic crazy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm a little bit behind. I'm sorry. They give you enough notice. Now, so they don't tell you like, oh, I just woke up. I'm like, but we're supposed to be meeting in 30 minutes. You just woke up. Oh, I forgot. You forgot? We've been talking. Okay, fuck it. That tells me you're out of consideration. Thank you for telling me how much you don't give a fuck about this. So I'm not either. Yeah, I'm looking for mostly those things in the first date, and the time, you know, the communication leading up to the first date and as well as the first date. Mm-hmm. Am I carrying the whole conversation? It's just me asking you questions about, you know, the bullshit first date. You know,
how you doing?
Yeah, how you doing? What you know? What do you do? What's your day like?
Yeah,
you know, walk me through your schedule. You know, walk me through a typical day for you. Those type of things. And I'm not getting nothing back. You're not asking me. You're not inquiring about my life, what it was like for me, or anything like that. You're not curious at all. You're here for a short time. You're here for a good time, not a long time. Mm-hmm. And that's my mind. I was like, okay.
Yeah, and you get a lot of information being curious. Let me tell you, as a person who has questions,
it's a question queen.
Okay, I haven't found out the whole life stories before our first date. Oh, okay, let me take some notes about.
She writing biographies.
Yeah, like okay, like this is this person's growing up experience, and this is how that could potentially impact them. This is this person's work experience, and maybe where their vision and dream for the future. And granted, all of those things can change, but right here, right now, who I'm meeting and what they have experienced in the past and what they're looking for into the future is a big piece of information that's going to help me decide whether or not I fit in your life. And if you don't ask those questions, or you aren't listening intently to figure out the answers to that, what is you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I hear that. And, you know, you were like one of the first women who like showed that like intense interest and curiosity that it was kind of scary. I was like, hey, yo, like, why are you asking me so many questions? Like, is this normal? Like, what's going on? Like, who you work for? but I like it. But it felt good though, because it was like, oh yeah, she's asking me questions that I've never been asked before. Got me thinking about shit that I've never really had to think about before, and that is a challenge. I like that, and you know, I didn't realize that until I was like, oh, got me thinking. I'm like, huh, oh, I do think this about this. Oh, this is like, oh shit, oh my god. So yeah, and it felt great. She definitely distinguished herself. And I'm thinking about like our first date, you know, so how we met up and how things seemed to go so smoothly. We was talking. I can't even tell you what the hell we was talking about.
Me either.
But I know it was great. I did know that by the end of that, I was like, I need some on the books now. Immediately. Mm-hmm. During Rona, I was like, you know what? If I get sick off this, whatever. It's okay.
You didn't care.
I didn't. I was like, nah, it ain't gonna happen. Nah, she looks like she ain't got Rona. She all right. You know what I'm saying?
Looks can be deceiving, but yes. I agree with you. I do think that a big part of first dates is a feeling more than it is anything else. You know what I'm saying? Like,
because you don't really know the person for real. So like, you don't need to just go like, I'm basing this off of, you know, good part intuition and of course what you've shown me so far. I like what you've shown me so far. I also recognize that this is only like the tip of the iceberg, so it could be some wild shit behind that. But based on what I see, I like that. I'm gonna trust it, and let me go in and see explore this more. Mm-hmm. And then you planned the second day. You was like, hey, I got this place I want you to put you on to. She did. I was like, she treated me so well. I was like, I pity dudes who don't realize that like when women really care are really interested in you, like they really will show that shit. Like they and I think guys need to start prioritizing those women, like women who will show you. I think we've heard it before, like who like you type situation. Mm-hmm. Like women like you, they are creative. Like they are so creative. You know what I'm saying? All the things that they complain men ain't, they are, and then they show that shit to the dudes that they're actually interested in, even if they bummy, even if they are interested in, them niggas is amazing. They think they're amazing. They're gonna go above and beyond. Mm-hmm. Focus on them. Find you a woman who shows you interest, not just who you are interested in.
You're right.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a
final food for thought.
Mic drop
on the Lowski. But yeah, man, like if there's anything I could, if there's any young bros listening right now, man, I'm just trying to let you know that like it is not a sin for a woman to show interest in you, like overtly. You know what I'm saying? To like want to, not necessarily. I'm not gonna say pursue you, but like just like you're pursuing her, like she's making it known that she's interested in you. She's texting you first. Mm-hmm. She's hitting you up with like, "Hey, good morning," or give evening text. I'm not saying she's the only one doing it. That's not how it's supposed to be. At some point, I feel like at some point it was kind of a game. Who can get to who first?
Yeah.
Like, so who can get the good morning text out first? And I was like, yeah, I know she'd sleep at 3 a.m. Now she's gonna wake up to it.
Mm-hmm. But you are always going to bed after me.
Actually, I was a late sleeper. Yeah, it still am.
Good night. Good morning.
Yeah. Like, yeah, if you're reading this and you're awake, good night. And if you're not, good morning as well. That was a real text. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like go for who like you. And it's now these days it seems that it's just more of just like what can you do for me? How can you show me how much, like how can you try to impress me through these extravagant dates that require a lot of you financially that you may or may not have. And it's just like, nah, that's not, that's part of dating, of course. Like you're gonna treat, if you can, you're gonna treat her. You're gonna do what you can within your means. I'm not saying don't do those things, but I think that saying we need to do those things for women who actually care, who actually want to know you, who also show genuine interest in you, and you will know what that feels like when it happens to you. I don't even need to tell you on the Lowski, like, because everybody's different. Everybody's they're going to make themselves known to you that they're interested in you, and you're going to feel that. Once you feel it, you're going to know what it was like because you didn't have it before. You're going to know like, oh, these other women before, they really didn't give a fuck for real. Like this is what it feels like for when a woman is actually interested in you. It's a 9-day difference, and I promise any dude who's experienced it will testify to that. And That's all I got to say about that.
Standing on business.
Mm-hmm. Yep. When they standing on business, they standing on business, and the business is I want to be wifed up. I want to be in a relationship.
I'm trying to see what's up with you.
Yeah, like you want, like if that's the goal, if that's what you're trying to do, if that's what you want to be in, like you need to do the. You're interested in this person, and you want to make sure this person sees that you are interested, so they can ask you to be theirs or what have you. You got to stand on that business, and you can't be embarrassed to do that shit. Like, yeah, like it's possible that you may get finessed or you may get taken advantage of or what have you, but like, or you may get embarrassed because like they don't feel the same way about you as you feel about them. But if you're interested in somebody, let that shit be known. Like, yo, I'm trying to be with you. Like, I'm trying to make this shit lead up to a relationship. If you are interested in that same thing, let's get it. If not, remove yourself from consideration.
Mm-hmm. I am curious about how this audio is going to turn out with you and this arm on top of the stand.
Yeah, they can hear me just fine.
No, I'm curious about what sounds are going to exist after. I'm sure
see.
they can hear you.
I don't know.
And this poor microphone was just bobbing and weaving.
Yeah, I was getting in on my bag video. A little bit. They could probably see the microphone moving.
They could see it. They could see it.
But yeah, I was getting in my bag a little bit. I was like, man, get you a good one, man, and run away. Once you get it, pack it up, man. Pack it up, man. Because from what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing, it's looking increasingly treacherous out here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what they say about the dating pool.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
Yeah. So, how about you, babe? Any last food for thought?
Yes. I heard a question on another podcast of like, what are you doing to stand out? We all know that we're competing because the person that we're interested in and attracted to is also interesting to other people and attractive to other people. You need to be thoughtful and intentional about the ways that you are showing up for that person to communicate that interest. And whether that means being inquisitive and learning more about what they like in order to give them those things that they like, or that means being considerate of like, oh, you know what? I should make sure that I am eating and drinking enough to be full and satisfied, but not ODing or like not being. I
don't want him to think that I'm just using him for a way. Yes. So let me not go crazy.
Yes. Just making sure that you are showing up in a way that you would like for someone to show up for you. Like, I think that there is sometimes this defensiveness when people go into dating situations that leads them to the utility model, right? Like, what are you going to do for me? There's also sometimes a mindset around I'm the prize. No, I'm the prize. And then this idea of like, you need to be showing your value so you can win me. But I do think that in any situation, you are in a space where the person has value and you also have value, and it's your responsibility to communicate your value to that other person. And if we both show up that way, like, oh, I'm responsible for showing her why I could be a good fit in her life, and she's responsible for showing me why she could be a good fit in my life, we would have some better results.
Because contrary to popular belief, it is not self-evident the value that a woman is going to play in your life. You know, like they would like you, people would like you to believe. Yeah. And I'm saying, so it's like, they got to show, my guys, you know, the women need to show like how they're going to fit within your life. How
my life's going to be easier because you're in it.
Easier, more convenient. How is it going to be better, more filled with love, light, or what have you, than what it is if she wasn't in it. And you as a man, how are you going to be able to do the same for her? Like, how is she going to, wake up in the morning, a little bit, happy, not necessarily happy, but like, in a better feeling like I'm happy to be in this relationship as opposed to being single. It's just like show. That's how you should. That's the value that you need to show. It's just like, yo, how is this being in a relationship with me worth being not single?
Yeah. Make this better than the streets.
Yeah.
Make the sheets better than the streets.
And if you're a good person, it shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't be. We do make this shit way harder than it needs to be a lot of the times. Yeah, I was thinking about like that clip about the girl said like sometimes just being a good man is not a good enough reason to be in a relationship with them. I'm like being a good man ain't enough. I'm like, oh, okay. I think you're making it a little bit more convoluted than you need to be. I'm like, what's better than being a good man? Like, what more do you need than being a good person, a good woman, or a good woman or a good man? But perhaps that's a topic for another episode.
I think so.
Yeah. So I think we're talked out. You know what I'm saying? I think we talked a good amount here. It's time for us to wrap this up. So we appreciate y'all tuning in to another episode of the Buffet Podcast, episode 107. Yeah. Hey, like and subscribe. Stop playing with us. Peace.